Okay, so now we're going to go over number 7 and 8. But before we do that, I want you to look back at that chart that you made in your notes. And I want you to notice something. If we look at the length and the width of your shapes and look at how they relate to the perimeter. So we have 7 and 1, and then our perimeter was 16. We have 5 and 3, and our perimeter was 16. We have 4 and 4, our perimeter was 16. We have 8 and 2, our perimeter was 20. We have 6 and 2, our perimeter was 16. So what I want you to notice is if I add the length and the width together, and then I multiply it by 2, that gives me the perimeter of a rectangle. So I wrote it kind of like a fancy formula here for us. The length plus the width times 2 is equal to the perimeter. Why do you need to know that? Well, here's why. Because in these next ones, they wanted you to find what the sides could be. So if I take the perimeter and I divide it by 2, it'll tell me what the length and the width have to add up to. So for a perimeter of 14, my length and my width, 14 divided by 2, is equal to 7. So my length and my width would have to add up to 7. So I need to draw the rectangles that could have a perimeter of 14 where 2 sides add up to 7. So I could have 1 and 6. I could have 2, 5, 2, 5. Or I could have 3, 4, 3, 4. Those are my possibilities. So now what they want me to tell them is, what are the areas of those rectangles? Well, I'm going to take my length times my width to find the area. So 1 times 6, the area of this one would be 6. 2 times 5, the area of this one would be 10. And 3 times 4, the area of this one would be 12. So, and it is square inches. So I can write inches and then that little squared symbol. Or I could write out the word square inches if I felt like it. So the areas that those rectangles could be are 6 square inches, 10 square inches, or 12 square inches. Okay, so make sure you have that written down, and then we'll go on to the next one. Okay, now for number 8, our whole perimeter is 24. So what does that mean? That means that one length and one width, when I add them together, have to equal 12, because 24 divided by 2 is 12. So one of my lengths plus one of my widths has to equal 12. So here are the combinations of numbers that I can add together to equal 12. I could have 1 and 11, 2 and 10, 3 and 9, 4 and 8, 5 and 7, 6 and 6. So now I'm going to find the area of each one of those rectangles. And we are in square inches. So this would be 11 square inches. This would be 2 times 10, 20 square inches. This would be 3 times 9, 27 square inches. This would be 4 times 8, 32 square inches. 5 times 7, and 6 times 6. All right. So make sure you have all that written down, and then we'll talk about the answer to the question, because it doesn't ask us for all the areas. Okay, so now let's look at what the question asks for. The question says, what are the greatest and least possible areas? So we're going to look at the areas. The greatest that we have is this, 36 square inches. The least is 11. So The answers would be the least is 11 square inches and the greatest is 36 square inches. Okay, so now you're going to do pages 251, 252. You're going to turn in 252 to me. If you have any questions, shoot me a text or an email. See you next time.